Now, most people's initial goal when they first start handstanding is to kick up and hold confidently for like 10 seconds and come back down again. And we can build our strength, our conditioning, our confidence doing the wall drills, both back to wall and chest to wall. But then we run into issues. So a great exercise chest to wall is to do the toe pull, where you pull on and off the wall. But most people are scared of that. They're scared of falling over onto their back. They're scared of the unknown when they kick up freestanding in the middle of the room. So today I'm going to go through some ways you can safely work towards that. And also when you start to go into more advanced skills like shoulder stands that are elevated, deficit handstand push-ups, and starting with eccentric, so coming down with control, and again, not being scared to fall out of this position if things go wrong. Now these are going to be a little bit different for everyone because everyone has different strengths and weaknesses and different things challenge them. But environment makes a massive difference. So I'm lucky enough to be able to train somewhere like this where there's lots of options. We have the different height surfaces, we have the soft, squishy floor, hard surface that leads to softer surface. So it might mean you need to find somewhere else to train to work on this element of kicking over, learning to fail, learning to bail out of the handstand. That could be the beach, it could be the park, it could be a gymnastics place. So when bailing out of the handstand, we have a couple of options. So the main two ones to start with is, do we keep our hands planted on the floor? Or do we step like a cartwheel with one hand? Now that could be when we're coming out of a chest to wall position, so keeping the hands together, or stepping the hand and cartwheeling out. Now I would prefer people to learn the step out method like this initially when they're working on the wall and the floor, but as soon as they start to go elevated and we now don't have anywhere to step this hand, we need to use a different method. But let's first look at the cartwheel method if we're doing it on the floor, which I recommend everyone starts with. Now everyone will have a dominant side here. Now mine is my left hand going forwards. So if I went to do a cartwheel, I would do that. I would take my left hand forwards in the movement. So you could just practice that. Now it doesn't have to be a gymnastic, beautiful cartwheel, not that that was one. It can be a bent over, hunched position, and just see if you can throw your legs over in that direction. Now if you really struggle with that, I would just get yourself to a park, go on the grass, go on the beach, and then just safely throw yourself about and have a play with positions. I would try the opposite side as well once you get comfortable with your dominant side. Once you have that down, then I would start in your normal handstand position, kick up, and then try and step a hand across. Now you can do it freestanding like I just tried, and you can also do it against the wall. Now for some people, doing it against the wall is actually scarier because you're taller. But the cool thing about against the wall, you can do it slowly. I can transfer weight to that non-dominant side, then take the hand forwards and step out of the position. And then once you've done that, you can just do it with a bit more speed and control. And again, just build repetitions until you feel really comfortable. And then when you start to feel really comfortable with it, you can actually go into the handstand and try and pull out. So that's where the toe pull drill is really good. But just set up near grass if you need to. So you'd pull off the wall and then you'd purposely go over, step out. Same thing freestanding, but go somewhere where there's grass or a softer area, kick, hold for a second, step out and cartwheel through. The trickiest part is like you're pretending to fall, and so you're not actually falling. So in reality, once you've got that to a point where you can do it controlled intentionally, then you need to start playing with it unintentionally, and that's just trying to hold the handstand and it will happen. But just stay on that softer surface until you feel comfortable. We then have the shoulder stand. Now the cool thing with the shoulder stand is we can back it off very much. So if you've got something like this type of surface or a box, you can then work and just go on one side first. So I just go into a very tucked shoulder stand when my knees are very close to the floor. Don't go straight up to something like this yet. Stay here and then literally step out to the side. Do the same thing on the other side. Just when you're doing this one, make sure you push in the elbow towards the midline as you go that way. If not, you'll collapse over the elbow. Once you have that, you can start to play with something like this and go more into the middle and be in a straighter position and then turn yourself out. So that's a little bit more like the cartwheel one where we don't move the hand. And I just need to make sure before I lift the hand up, and that's more so if I'm like handstanding on the edge, that my feet are lower than my hands, or at least pointing down before the hand comes up. But that's where I'd be trying to find somewhere that has a lower wall, a higher wall, and you can slowly build the confidence as you get higher and higher. Start with that shoulder stand one, push yourself out, walk out of it, and again, do repetitions. If you can't find anywhere like this, a low wall can work exactly the same. And you often find when you're working things like eccentric handstand push-ups, so the down only, that you'll get halfway down, overbalance, and then fall out. And then you'll just slowly build capacity to fall in lots of different directions. Again, it's very hard to intentionally fill those gaps. It's just going to happen over time. But the big thing is just don't train outside your ability yet. The same rules apply on the high P bars. If I start to fall, I just make sure that my feet are coming down first before I let go of the hands. It will naturally happen anyway, but just don't get up here if you can't do the lower surfaces first. Now, there are two other methods that I haven't really covered because I personally don't train them and don't teach them because they're something that you already have. So it's something like going into a wheel pose or back bend. So if you're very flexible in extension, it takes me about 2 hours to get to the position where I can go over into a back bridge. And then the other one is going into a forward roll. So basically just going up into handstand, feel like you're gonna go over and come out of it like that. Well, it would look prettier than that. Now, the only issue with those two is if you tend to favor those, you will do those before you really need to. So people will start to go towards back bend or go into the forward roll without trying to catch the handstand or rebalance their position. So it can become a bit of a habit. Now, exactly the same risks apply when you go to things like one-arm handstands. But the thing with one-arm handstand, if you've got to the level where you can do them, you've done thousands of repetitions and you've fallen out in all of the different directions. So let me know if you have any questions with this one. Remember that it's very specific to you. Stay within your ability, stay safe, don't rush it, and I'll speak to you next time. Thanks, guys.